Alright, what's up guys? We've got a water change to take care of. So, let's film it and see what happens. Not going to mess with these big filters right here, but I do need to get the sponge filters out of there. There's two 75-gallon sponge filters at the back of the tank. We're going to need to get those out and get those cleaned up. So first things first, let's siphon some water out into a bucket so we can clean our filters, and then we'll get the rest of the tank drained. So I'm going to get my drain bucket right here, which has my 260 gallon per hour pump from Harbor Freight. Get that. Got to get my handy dandy window open. It looks like it might rain outside. And don't look at my backyard because it's a disaster. Another project for another day. Alright. Let's pump a little water into our bucket, and then we'll get the rest of the tank drained out, or a good portion of it anyways. Now this hose is the worst hose I've ever bought, so don't get the cheapest hose from Walmart that you can find. This thing sucks. I gotta get a softer hose to work with. It's just enough to drive you crazy. So heads up with that. And let's plug in our pump. I'm just going to pump in enough water to take care of the filters. Then we'll move the rest of it outside. Maybe. No water. So again, this hose is terrible, and there's a kink in the hose preventing the water from coming through. There we go. Now we're getting water into our bucket so we can clean out those sponge filters. So I am using the Osmo 7P and filming from a iPhone. If anybody's interested, I'll leave a link in the description below for DJI, but these things are sweet. I have mine resting on a tripod at eye level so you guys can see me, I can see you, and then if I move around, the camera will follow me, making this part of filming a little bit easier. So now that our bucket's almost full, we got enough water to run our pump. We gotta break the siphon or else it'll just continue to pump water, and that'll be bad for the fish room. So get our pump back in there. We're gonna do probably a good 70% water change today because I've been lazy and haven't done a water change on the big tank in probably almost 2 weeks now, which is a really long time for this tank. So same thing as last time, get our pump out there, our hose out there so we can start pumping. Cable management back there is still a nightmare, not worried about that. So as this is draining, let's go ahead and start pulling out our filters. For our tank. So we're going to put one right here to drain a little bit. And we got a second one here buried. How's that? No, I don't. Shoot. So the other one's a little bit further back there. Can't quite get to it by reaching back there with my hands. So I'm going to have to borrow a chair. Oh. I'm going to turn off this fan because I have smacked my face on this thing one too many times. And that sucks. So I'm gonna have to reach back in here. The other filter. The fish are like, what the hell are you doing? These things are so damn heavy. Set it right there like that. I'm gonna pull out this hose. The hose is on there really good. Shoot. I'm gonna lose it. Okay, so let me grab a little pair of pliers real fast, or some needle nose, just so we could pop that hose off of there. Just like so. Set these guys up here. We'll let the tank just kind of bubble water out, do its thing. Alright, some of these are freaking good to go, man. I can't get that thing off of there. Well, we just made that one a hair shorter. That'll happen. Got plenty of airline, thank God. But that's just come on, buddy. God dang, this one just glued itself in there. Alright, well, I had to take that one out in pieces, but whatever. Got it out. Let's work on getting these filters cleaned up so we can reinstall them, and then we'll be good to go. Ooh. Talk. What's the matter? What? What? It's recording. It's okay. What's up?
There's something wrong in the shower down here.
Okay. Next time you walk in front of the camera, make sure you have pants on.
Okay.
So all we're doing is squishing these filters in and out, trying to squeeze out as much of that gunk that they've collected as possible. Obviously these you want to make sure are also cleaned up, because a lot of that biomaterial will get stuck in there, especially if you haven't cleaned them in as long as I haven't. But I like to keep these in there marinating in case I decide to start up another project. I have some beneficial bacteria for fresh water as soon as possible. I have been throwing around the idea with my wife to turn the 75-gallon tank into a saltwater tank. So that might be something you see in the future on the channel. For now though, it's just sitting there doing literally nothing because I disassembled it once I made the 125-gallon tank. So now it's doing nothing. And it drives me nuts to have a fish tank that's empty. I don't know if you guys have that problem, but I like to fill mine with fish as soon as possible, just because I'm impatient and I like fish. Alright, but there's one sponge filter, nice and clean, and we'll get it reinstalled into the tank in just a second. These black mats come in handy. I don't know where, I think Walmart. It's supposed to be like a floor mat if you have like a mud room. When you first walk in, you can set your shoes down. But I'll tell you, it comes in handy when you're working on fish stuff and you have a bunch of wet things that you want to set down on the floor and not have to come back with the shampooer right after you're done. Highly recommend getting some of these guys. This thing right here is just an air purifier, just to help out dehumidifier, because it stays really wet in this room. So if you have that problem, you don't want your walls and stuff to start getting all soaking wet from these tanks evaporating water. Believe it or not, man, the humidity in this room compared to the rest of my house, and I live in Colorado, which is like always dry, stays pretty humid in here. I'd say it's like 30% humidity compared to the atmosphere outside the room. So the lizard likes it in here. And you can see this water is just turning absolutely disgusting because it's full of all kinds of biomedia and waste media, or waste material from the fish pooping and peeing. So yeah, this is an absolutely disgusting freaking part of fish keeping, but it is what it is. If you want healthy fish, they live in a closed environment that you control. So I would suggest doing water changes as often as needed. I'll change out the water as often as needed. The filters I tend to do probably about every 2 weeks to every 3 weeks. And the media for the big filters up there, I'll do probably once a month. So that way it's not super like crazy busy when I'm trying to do the fish. Man, that water is disgusting. These sponge filters do a pretty good job. Let's get these reinstalled in the tank and see where we're at. Oh yeah, draining pretty good. I will vacuum as well. Let's get these guys back in there. I'm just cleaning off the hoses a little bit. We'll drop this guy back where we had it. Creating some good bubblage. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and kill everything except for one of those pumps. And the reason I do that is because it still aerates the water, it's still filtering the water, still adding a little bit of flow, because I turned off everything except for the one filter. So let's get the rest of these sponge filters reinstalled. And then, what's up, buddy? Yeah, let me finish up here and then we can do that. No problem, buddy. Okay, sponge filter is installed. Tank is getting pretty low. Let's go ahead and start vacuuming out some stuff. I'm actually going to throw on a new bag. Is that one? It's pretty full of stuff from the last round. So I do with these bags is I just fold them over, and I think I accidentally threw my rubber band out. I did. Once they're folded over, take a couple rubber bands, open them up, and just secure the net. Rubber band. Whoop. Okay. First attempt, fail. Guess it works a little bit better if you remember how you did it the first time. Okay, so we're just going to do that. Make the bag you know, pretty small. We don't need a whole lot, but we want to get to it before we lose the ability to create suction, which we might have our okay, so we got our section. Now we're just trying to soak up any bit of this leftover poop and whatnot that's in the tank. Now, sometimes what happens is it gets so short, the water levels, it's actually easier just to remove this piece and run just the tube and get whatever you can out of there. Seacom's Clear will do a really good job of clumping everything together, but then you have to vacuum it out. Otherwise, you just overload your filters. You're not in a much better situation than prior to the water change, in my opinion. Because everything that's putting off ammonia and stuff is still there. So it's just going to continue to do so. And you contaminate your water almost immediately. So make sure, I mean, just get the gunk out however you can. So like obviously my bag is getting full. So I can just take it and extend it a little bit to add some more room and continue to fill it up. And yeah, I probably should have left the light on. Hindsight, you know, 2020. But honestly, I mean, I enjoy vacuuming the tank. I just really enjoy a nice, clear, clean tank. And I vacuum probably once to twice a day, depending on how much waste the fish are producing. That is enough water evacuated from the tank. So get our bucket back out. Hang right there for a second. Get this unplugged. Yeah, it's a little bit more than half. I don't know if I would call that 60-70%. Maybe 60%. Oh. My vacuum quit working. Hopefully I didn't just roast it, because I don't want to buy another one. I will. Okay, well, lost the vacuum, apparently. I don't know if the battery's dead or what. Let me go see if I have another battery. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Seems to be working for now. Yep. Okay, I lied. So I opened up the battery compartment, and it's soaking wet, and the batteries are partially corroded. So, vacuum's SOL for right now. Let's switch. Let's try and get whatever we can out with a net, and we better add some light in there for now so we can see what we're doing. These are just weird little lights I bought just to help out when I'm doing stuff. Easy to move around, easy to add to whatever you're working on. But let's try and get some of this gunk out of here, because there's still quite a bit. This is not the recommended way of doing this by any means, but without the vacuum I don't have much of a choice. And although this ain't the best method, it is pretty effective. I guess as long as you have a really small net or fine net. But yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff in here. Alright, that's a bunch of nastiness. Now that can go directly into our bucket, from which we cleaned our pumps. Our sponge filters. So again, we'll have to clean that piece of equipment up later. Just gonna leave it pretty cloudy. Not terrible. But let's go ahead and get this pump put away that we were using for draining the tank, and then we can move on to getting the other hose out, getting it hooked up to the sink so we can fill it back up. It's that easy. The easier you make your maintenance, the more maintenance you'll be willing to do, the happier fish will be. Keep it simple. Now we're just going to grab this hose out of here. And this is how we're going to fill it up from the sink. I have an attachment here, and there's a mating part that goes onto the faucet, which allows me to quick disconnect this on and off to the sink. So, give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Alright, so now all we gotta do is pull the trigger and fill this bad boy up. But what I like to use, because I'm lazy like that, is a clamp to hold it. Once the water gets past the heaters, I'll plug everything back in, start filtering out where it's a little bit cloudy, and then usually about halfway through filling the tank back up is when I will add some prime. Just gonna leave it like that. Go ahead and grab some prime. I have so much crap over here, I know I need to organize it. Here's some prime mixed in with all the other crap I know. So this is 125 gallons. We'll say we took out more than half the water. So what is that, 62.5 gallons? And this is 1 cap full per 50 US gallons. So we'll just put a cap full in now, and we'll do another cap full before it's full. And we'll treat for 100 gallons. This tank is very, very active. Has a lot of good bacteria in it. Not really too worried about that. If I was worried about anything, I guess I'd be worried about the temperature of the water. And I tend to put in a little bit colder water. Usually I shoot for around 75 degrees for water going into the tank, and then I maintain the tank around 78, 79 degrees. Is pretty typical. I monitor the temperature right here with a digital thermometer, and I will just walk back and forth making small adjustments to my sink to maintain the temperature of the water. Right now the tank's sitting at 78.6 degrees with the water volume being so low. I'm actually going to run to the sink and turn that temperature up just a tiny bit. I want to maintain around 77. Okay, so we made a small adjustment to the water, and we'll see. It takes a little while for whatever you do at the sink to get to this point, right? So if you're constantly adjusting the water, you may just be chasing your tail. I'd make an adjustment, give it a few seconds, make an adjustment, give it a few seconds. We're still holding right at 78.6, so we're just going to leave it there and let it fill up. And then once the tank gets, a little bit higher up, or about halfway of this much volume filled up, we'll add that other cap full of prime.
I'm going to go ahead and add that second dose of prime. Real funny thing though.
Is I come to feed the fish this morning. Oh, why is it not tracking me? Okay, hold on, give me 1 second. Still not working? Why is it not tracking? It just wants to track the fish. This is annoying. So, real funny story. I woke up this morning, I came down to the fish room to feed the fish, and right by the door when I walked in, one of the panther crabs right here out of this tank had somehow managed to get out of the tank and walk way over there. Luckily, he wasn't out of the tank that long, or I'm not really sure how long these crabs can live outside of the water, but I was able to scoop him back up, pick him up, and put him in the tank, and he's doing fine. I checked on him earlier, rearranged the tank a little bit. Hopefully he won't be able to make it to the top of the tank now, but we'll have to keep an eye on him. But it scared the crap out of my wife. That was priceless. Like I said, let's add this other dose of prime in here, and I'm not going to do the full 125 gallons worth of prime because I know that I have really good, healthy biomedia up here. So that being said, that's all we're going to do as far as prime is concerned. Like I said, we might do a little bit of Seacom's Clarity. But we'll see. We'll cycle the tank for a little while. And if we need to add it, we will. If not, I don't see the point in throwing extra chemicals in there for no reason. Also, I have not fed my fish today. I tend to not feed them till after the water change, just because I feel like they get a little bit stressed out while I'm changing the water, and then they usually just super chill out after they get something to eat. So we'll feed them, get them something to eat as soon as the water change is done. This whole process takes forever. 120 gallons, you know, I mean, if you only evacuate, say, 60, 70 gallons of that, that's still a lot of water to fill up with a sink from your bathroom. So this is a long process. And I'm super bummed out my vacuum is not working. But it's my own fault because I'm an idiot and I let all the water get into the batteries. And it was Temu. So hey, well, why don't we do a small Temu review? This thing works great if it doesn't get wet. If it gets wet, which it's not sealed whatsoever, corroded battery. Super corroded battery, and the batteries are soaking wet as I pull them out. So there you go. Now it's just trash, but for what it cost, I think it was $8. That thing worked like a champ, and it just encourages me to buy another one, or maybe a better one, I don't know. But I like vacuuming, so I want a new vacuum. I gotta fix that. I'm gonna get on Amazon or something. Oh, also I screwed up my decorations, so I guess we can go ahead and fix those. And another lovely find from Harbor Freight. Use this for everything inside the tank. Mostly it's made out of plastic, so you don't have to worry about corrosion, but the long rod right here, I'm pretty sure is made out of tin or something like that, so it's gonna rust, it's gonna corrode, it's whatever. I'm gonna use it. And let's fix our rocks down here that I knocked over. So this is a super handy helper because I do not want to get my entire arm wet to try and redecorate. And I don't know if I'll put things back exactly how they were, but I'm gonna put them back how I want them at least. Earl, my Oscar, will redecorate anyways. It doesn't even matter. But we kind of just had it like that. Let's move this piece of driftwood down here, just so that way it could be in front of the wave makers, and we'll get it cleaned up a little bit. And don't hit the ceiling fan when you pull your arm out, because that sucks. It's as bad as hitting your face. Alright. So, continue to let that do its thing, and we'll be right back. What's up? Get those chips wrapped up and put away, please, you damn brother. Bring Daddy a cold Kool-Aid. So while that tank's filling up, I wanted to show you guys something, because I filmed a video, 2 days ago of me changing the water out on this tank right here, and it's disgusting. So I have an algae bloom going on right now, most likely because it sits right in front of this window. 90% of the time that's a freaking problem. I think especially because most people have their tanks on display and they freak out about the algae. I feel like this is a 100% natural thing that happens to overexposure, you know what I mean, from too much light. So it's not a big deal. I'm not going to treat it with chemicals or anything, no more than I do with the other tanks. I'll use a little bit of Seacom's Clear to clump things up. I'll get a new vacuum and I'll continue to vacuum things out. But other than that, it's not a big problem, or it's not something that's going to affect my fish. My fish are fine, water parameters are good, so no sweat. I will continue to do regular maintenance and water changes and stuff like that, and if it tends to bother me or anybody else, because I don't really film this tank, I'll throw it in the dark for a couple weeks. It'll clean up the algae, it'll look normal, but really I don't think there's a problem with it. Yeah, other than that, then over here is where our escape artist was at. Ooh, my daughter brought me a Kool-Aid. Super yummy, cold, delicious Kool-Aid. But yeah, one of my shrimp got out. Little bastard almost got out. He almost got stepped on. I'm surprised I didn't step on him, really. So now that all our hard work is done, we can enjoy a nice cold beverage. I'll just pull out the hose whenever the hose is done, and then we'll kick on power here in just a few more minutes. We're almost to the second heater. So there's 2 heaters in here. I don't remember how many watts they are. 200. So there's 2 200 watt heaters in here, but I keep the temperature of the house probably around 68, 70 degrees, so the heaters ain't doing much, you know. And I acclimate the water and treat it or condition it before I put it in there, so temperature is good. There's no hard metals or anything like that. We throw some prime in there, and then we'll flick on all the lights when we're done, and we'll see what we got. I remember being a kid, and it was my favorite thing just to squeeze the life out of these things. Make sure I got every last drop of juice. Trash can. No, there it is. Okay. All the fish seem pretty happy. We're up to 79.3 degrees. It's a little bit warm. So just like last time, we're going to make a small adjustment at the sink. Alright, adjustment made. Now we wait and see. The fish? Oh man, I love the fish. It's so crazy how you could just immediately want to go buy more fish. I started off with that 20-gallon tank, and then I went to this 29-gallon tank, then I went to that 40-gallon tank, and then out there, you can't see it, but I've posted it on previous videos. There's a 75-gallon tank out there in my bedroom. This is my office. And then I decided to go shopping around on Facebook Marketplace, which was also a terrible idea. And ultimately, I ended up with a 125-gallon tank. So yeah, I went tank crazy. Tank addict, whatever you want to call it. Tanks on crack. That was me. And to be honest, I don't know that it's died down any. I have a shed. You can't see it from here, but it's right there. I had this crazy idea that I am going to turn that shed into an aquarium, so I can have somewhere to hang out and somewhere to grow some extremely big fish. Like Earl is going to get freaking huge, and I don't think Earl can live in a 125-gallon tank forever. So, you know, I got probably about a couple years to
get that project going. Hopefully it doesn't take a year or a couple years. But I start the planning phase, maybe draw a CAD model of it so I have a general idea of how much materials are going to cost, and then boom, we knock it out, build something. I like building stuff, so might as well. The fish, you can tell, are a little irritated. They're scratching themselves all over the ship, especially the geophagus. They're starting to grow some really pretty trails on their tails. I don't know what the fins are called, dorsal fins, the ones on top. But now we're above the heaters, so let's go ahead and get everything plugged back in, start cycling the tank again. Okay, everything's plugged back in. I just kicked over my trash can. One of them. Alright, so everything's back on. Except for, it doesn't appear that either wave maker came back on. Might have to give those guys a little bit of a tap. Sometimes they struggle to turn back on. Okay, so we're going to have to take a look at those two, see why they're not coming back on. It should have power. Yeah, neither one of those is working. What's up, buddy? So yeah. Yeah, once we're finished filling up the tank, we'll take a look at the wave makers and figure out why they're not working. Dang it. Means I gotta get wet. Shoot. Ah. Well, I'm gonna pull one out. I got the cord for it right here. Figure out what exactly is our problem here. Oh. Well, it could be simply that they are so full of gunk. And it kicks right back on. Gosh. Well, that's good. And bad. Well, not bad, I shouldn't say, but it's good at least. We got it back on. Now let's see if we can do this without getting extremely wet, because that would be ideal. Alright, that one's back on. The other one, we're going to have to get it pulled up and out and clear any blockages it's having, because clearly it is blocked up. See if we can just do the same thing. So this one appears to have no power. There we go. Let's go ahead and
Same thing. Get it set like that. Grab our claw. Have you guys ever been doing a water change and get sidetracked? Or if you have kids like I do, you totally forget that you have a hose in your tank. And next thing you know, your office is a complete flooded mess. Or is that just me? Because I get sidetracked and forget all about the hose, and I come running in here like, oh crap. Only flooded it twice with this tank. It has happened with some of the other tanks, but it is what it is. Alright, back down to 78.8 degrees. Back to make another adjustment. Alright, cool. Some bit of plastic came flying out of that thing. What the heck is that? I don't even know. Let's get that out of there, though. Close this window. We're done doing that. And if it rains, that'll suck. Yeah. Fish look happy. Filters are filtering. Doing pretty good. Tank is sitting between, I don't know, 78.8 degrees. Pretty good. Get some more light in here. Doo-doo. I have two of them on. Not this guy. Where's the other guy? Take this extra light down. Flip this light back where it goes. And we have lights. Sort of. Alright, there we go. Oh, somebody's destroying boxes out there. What's up, bro? Fresh water, bro. I really like the fake plants. I'm not a big fan of fake plants, but I guess on a tank like this, it's not too bad. I would really rather have it with live plants and try and create an ecosystem, but I'm an idiot, so water changes it is for now. But it would be cool to try and scape the whole bottom, grow some legit plants, kind of like I have in the 29-gallon tank. But we'll see. Woo! He's fired up. A lot of gunk in there. Dang vacuum. That's disappointing. Wish I could have done that differently. Huh. I have some small baby plants growing back there, and let me move this out the way. I don't know if you guys can see, but down here I have a little tiny tank where I've been raising. Holy crap! Holy crap, guys! Hold on. I just noticed something. Let's get this off of here. Little did I know, we had baby guppies last night. Or today. Look at them go. That's crazy. So what we'll do is we'll get those guys out of the tank and we'll get them moved down here. And this is typically where I grow out the young guppies. And you can see here there's 6 of them alive in there. So that's pretty sweet. So yeah, water change pretty much complete, guys. I'm going to end the video right here so I can deal with these baby guppies. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you later.